Good morning, after even. Just to start that again. Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night. We are the Steedcast. Thank you for joining us today. To that side of me, anyway, is Mr. Burrow.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us, sir. Down there, we've got Mr. Jenkins.
Hola.
And doxing everyone. Should I keep doxing everyone? Good insert time of day here, anyone watching. Thank you for joining us today. To that side of me, we've got Mr. Gareth.
To
that side of me, we've got Mr. Sean.
Guten Tag.
And down there, I've got Mr. Rich.
Hola.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. And I know you've all been waiting for this cast, as everyone else that does listen, and I appreciate everyone tuning in. It is the legendary Tubby cast. Had a rollicking good time writing this one, I gotta tell you that much. Before I do jump in though, just a couple of words. What does the Teletubbies mean to you?
Who's going first?
Whoever.
I can remember that the Teletubbies is a children's entertainment program. Started in 1997, I believe.
That's the badger. Did anyone actually watch a few episodes?
I used to watch it all the time.
I did, yeah. I did.
We used to go over my nan's house after school. He'd be there with my sister and my two cousins, and my two cousins were younger than us. So my youngest cousin was 4 years younger than me, so it was always on.
Same with my cousin. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I saw a lot of Teletubbies. I've eaten my fair share of Tubby toast.
Oh, classic.
I can remember some of the supermarkets at least selling Tubby custard. Like you'd have the mini pots of children's yogurts and things. I guess it doesn't exist now. They're not as culturally relevant, but yeah, there was like a little pink gooey yogurt type effort that you could buy. I used to buy myself at some point, I think.
And you just think something that pink could not be good for you at
No.
all.
Did they ever sell Tubby toast? Because that stuff looked delicious.
It'd just be bread with the face in it, wouldn't it?
I'm sure they had the toasters or the stamps.
It's like Billy Bear, isn't it? Like Billy Bear.
Yeah.
Billy Bear sausage
toast version.
Yeah.
Classic one, classic.
I don't know about Tubby toast actually. Maybe crash down.
Did they ever sell a real life Nunu?
I
they
don't
got Henry,
know,
haven't they?
actually.
But
you could get the toys of Nunu. You could get the toys of it, obviously.
You get the toys, yeah. I did wonder whether there was a real life one, because like,
as in, like if the company that makes the Henry things would have made it.
It's a real thing. The young kids are scared of vacuum cleaners. So
Hector and Henry.
Oh, excuse me. I remember my cousin. I won't say which cousin. He was deathly scared of the Hoover in my house when he was a little kid. So like having something like that, which appeals to kids, wouldn't that be a good like marketing opportunity?
I suppose it would. He's pretty like industrial though, isn't he? He's pretty beefy for a Hoover.
Yeah. He reminds me of that thing.
Known as a girl, though, I thought, don't I?
Do you ever play with him, Jim?
Don't know.
Sega, and he's a dustbin boss. It reminds me of that. Because he literally looks like a bin on its side with like a brush stuck out of the top of it. Yeah.
It probably was made from a bin, like the proper.
Yeah, it's like a blue plastic bin. I thought it was on its side. Yeah.
Proper Doctor Who, like.
Yeah, it is literally. I was just gonna say it looks like a leftover Doctor Who prop of some kind.
Yeah.
Could slide in there, nice. So obviously, when you think of Teletubbies, you think of like bizarreness, I suppose, like just general nonsense. Really, it's kind of a Dadaist if you watch it when you're off your face. And there are like psychonauts that I kind of built a cult around it that just love getting off their faces on mushrooms and stuff, sitting there watching Teletubbies. Same with things like In the Midnight Garden and Tweenies and things like that, just those nonsense kids shows. But there was some controversy around Teletubbies, which I'm going to jump into. Mostly though, which I'll bring up now, is that a lot of parents didn't like it because it would teaching their kids like words.
Anything.
Yeah. They're all just like blah, 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 blah. It's spot on example, but it's not teaching them shit all really.
Not teaching them to talk properly.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't do the good talk.
Yeah.
Does it teach any values, you reckon?
That's a good question, really.
No.
No.
I mean, it shows clips, doesn't it? There's clips playing of kids and stuff playing painting or whatever that gets dropped in every now and then when they look at the Tubby television. But as for the actual Teletubby world, I don't think anything really happens. It's like a moral lesson or whatever.
I wouldn't even say they were particularly like well behaved or anything. They sort of make a mess, and Nunu has to sort of clean up after them, and
they're incredibly clumsy as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what they are really sort of. There's no educational values there, surely.
Nunu just goes berserk, just starts trashing everything. It's great.
Yeah,
it's usually the other way around. It's usually him cleaning up after them. But,
like a mother having a mental breakdown or something like.
He's like, I'm fucking had enough of this shit.
Cleaning up after your bastards. What fucking time?
It work all day.
As I said, though, it's like a nonsense place with, I suppose, happiness. La La Land, the actual way Gareth is called.
Yeah.
But
does that insinuate that Lala is the owner then? Is Lala
technically it does, I suppose.
Have they all
crashed? Is the mortgage holder.
Have they all crashed at Lala's pad? Like, is that what's going on?
I don't know if what research Tom has done for this, but La La Land was apparently a reference to some sort of like mental asylum or something.
Yeah, I've got a big bit on that coming up.
So that's it. Yeah, we'll move on to that anyway.
There's also a song by Green Velvet. La La Land.
Oh, La La Land.
Yeah.
Any good?
It goes diddle dun 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 diddle dun dun dun. It was like a turn
my
of
type of song.
Millennium kind of club song.
Don't do any more, we'll get flagged. So cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Barra said, though, not everything is all happy and smiles in La La Land.
No.
There's hidden truths and hidden depths. There's, everyone knows we got Tinky Winky, who's the purple one. We got Captain Poe, we got Dipsy, and we got Lala there, the yellow one. Each of them are corresponding in the colours. They stick with the same colours throughout the whole show, and there are apparently meanings behind that. They've also got constant smiles plastered on their faces, apart from in Rich's photo, but is that canon? Not sure.
I don't think it is.
It's Soviet era.
It's like one of those children's parties Teletubbies where they hire like this B-Tech group who just like make their own costumes and go around children's parties and they just terrify them.
The TVs on their stomachs, though, I thought that was a really strange design choice. Like, who would have sat there designing these creatures and thinking, like, we'll just chuck a telly on their belly, like?
Nah. Hasn't Tinky Winky got the best working aerial, technically, if you actually look at the pictures, because it's a triangle. Isn't that the best one?
It's like an upside-down coat, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
What's Lala's one? I can't...
It's a twirl, isn't it?
Just a twirly looking thing.
Oh, I can see her just by your head there, I think. Classic.
Running away
classic.
in the distance.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of a dive into Teletubbies, though, so I'm just going to kick off with that. So, we've all seen those things that, like, you got the Rugrats, they're like fan theories. Yeah, everyone kind of has been on one of those binges every now and then, but there is one for the Teletubbies, which I kind of fell into. So we got an Akash Pothu, who's a TikToker. He said that the Teletubbies, as Gareth said, is based on a mental institute in Bulgaria known as La La Land, where the children in the institute were treated badly and the caretakers even forgot to feed the kids sometimes. You might be thinking, how's this all corresponding? But it does kind of wrap around to it. The New York Times up, because I thought this was obviously complete bullshit. So I done a little bit more digging. The New York Times got an article there saying Sofia, an unusual investigation that brought together prosecutors and human rights lawyers, have revealed a grisly picture of neglected Bulgarian state homes for mentally disabled children. There were 238 deaths since 2000, and that was written in 2010. That's very light-hearted, isn't it? So more than 3/4 of the deaths were found to have been avoidable. 84 from... I'm just going to move my thing over here so it doesn't look like I'm craning my neck. The deaths then, so we got 84 from physical deterioration caused by neglect, 36 from exposure to cold or long-term immobility, 31 from malnutrition, 13 from infections caused by poor hygiene, 6 from accidents, and 15 were unexplained. I've left a URL for this. I've sourced all my work on this one, so Rich can maybe post it down the bottom. Do you reckon this has got any ties to this then, or do you reckon it's all just kind of a loose hanging thread?
So far, I'm not seeing it. I'll be honest, but I'm sure there's more information to come.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's going to convince you even more, I'll be completely honest.
I do have a question. So I know it was made by the BBC. Was it based on something another country did first, or was this purely from the UK?
I think it was a purely fresh original thing that came about.
Yeah, as far as I could see, there were no...
Not like a repackaged... no.
Because I can see how the BBC could basically market this at various different countries. Because, like you said, the Teletubbies didn't actually say anything.
No,
but the little clips they showed of the kids painting or whatever. To my knowledge, I can't remember. But did the kids actually speak in that, or was it literally just showing them? No, it was all
sort of show and tell, basically.
Yeah, so it's like they were British though. It was like British schools.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
But I'm sure it's like a sort of Mr. Bean jobby where it's like, you can check it out around the world and people can watch it because there's no real speech as such.
Yeah. Good accessibility. But like you said though, I mean, I suppose Teletubbies, after the Teletubbies came, straight away you had the Tweenies. You had this massive genre of kids shows that did stem from these fluffy bastards. But I think they were the first.
Obviously, you had Barney the dinosaur.
Sesame Street.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Sesame Street.
Yeah, Sesame Street, Big Bird, etc.
Muppets, I guess.
Yeah, so the Jim Henson creations, essentially.
And a Muppet in a costume always with puppets, weren't they?
Puppets.
Like,
yeah.
It was like...
I don't know whether
Big
Bird
was
though.
a human.
I think Big Bird was out.
Sesame Street were...
people inside the costumes.
Yeah, they were, yeah. Definitely Big Bird. Like
Big Bird would have been true.
Yeah.
And Barney as well. And well, Bear and Big Blue House, whatever they're called. Is that Bear's Blue House? Blue's Big Bear
I don't know
House?
when that came about. That was somewhere in between, perhaps, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Bear
it was
and the
a
Big
bit
Blue
later,
House.
I think.
I think I've horror movied that title. It's not
Sesame
called
Street,
Bear
though,
and the
they
Big
had...
Blue House.
There's
they
another
had,
one.
big guests as well, didn't they, in Sesame Street? They had Tom Hardy, I think, at one point.
Yeah.
Maybe
I've seen one
different
with Tony
people, yeah.
Soprano on it. Genuinely,
Nice.
like, I don't. They did. That's what they do in it. They get like people all of the time on, celebrities and stuff. So at one point that was culturally relevant. But yeah, I don't know where Sesame Street kind of came into this. What's the one with the guy from Star Trek in it? The rainbow reading thing. Didn't that have puppets?
Yeah, Reading Rainbow is Troy. No, LeVar Burton.
Yeah, is it LeVar Burton?
You want about Rainbow? The show
Reading Rainbow. No, you said
Jeffrey
American thing.
Mundell.
Primarily, it was the guy with the visor in Next Gen. I think it's LeVar Burton.
LeVar Burton, yeah. George.
Yeah.
We forgot about Rainbow, actually. We were saying this is one of the first things, but you had Zippy Bungle and George and Jeffrey, of course.
Oh, Rainbow Rising, fantastic album. Ronnie
Rainbow,
James
like...
Dio, Cozy Powell on the drums, Richie Blackmore on guitar.
My youth, when I'm a little bit younger than you lot, obviously, but Rainbow was sort of still kicking around when I was little, definitely. The second gen, though, you had like the original Rainbow.
A little bit older, you mean?
With
FYI. Just clarifying.
Yeah. You had the original Rainbow with that trio of, I can't remember the name now, but then you had old Jeffrey and whatever then later on then. But then Teletubbies, I was in 97. I would have started my first year of comprehensive school. You probably wasn't even born then, I imagine.
7-year-old I was.
Good God.
I was
6. I was 11, wasn't I?
Barely born I was.
So what you're telling me is you were watching Teletubbies in secondary school.
Yeah, but it's a curiosity. Yeah, but the curiosity aspect of it. It's new, it's fresh. What the hell is this? You put it on, didn't you? Everybody was watching it. It was talked about running in the in thing at the time. It's a curiosity aspect of it.
They had another one after it called Polka Dot Shorts as well. I don't know if any of you remember that.
That was polka dot shorts. Yeah, that was more or less around the same time.
Shit! One of those little shits that lived in a cottage, Tiny Tots. Did they live in a cottage?
Tiny.
They were puppets though. Rosie, they were by the creators of Rosie and Jim.
Rosie
Again,
and Jim,
puppets.
Rosie and Jim.
Yeah.
You know, the Tiny Tots cottage is actually in ruin, in disrepair. That's a conspiracy theory.
Do you think it's haunted, said Dick?
I suppose it's dilapidated. And
when did talking about things that are left in ruins, like Blobby Land, for example? When did Blobby come about then? Was that before or after Teletubbies?
Before.
Scared me.
No, it's House Party. That was before Teletubbies, surely.
Yeah. There's no Edmonds on it.
Yeah.
Imagine that thing coming at you in the night, like you're going up your stairs, just knocking all the lights off in the night, and it's like crawling up the stairs after. Nah,
I
I'd
met
be
Mr.
honest,
Blobby.
like when they bring Blobby out at like the rare appearances these days in TV shows. It's usually on comedy panels and stuff. They bring it
Stuff
up.
like
I
that,
fucking love it. I think
90s
he's hilarious, just because he's so chaotic. It's
I met
fantastic.
Mr. Blobby at I was at a Radio 1 roadshow somewhere. I got a photo with him somewhere, which I probably could find somewhere. But yeah, it was wasn't like a knockoff fake thing. It was a legit BBC Mr. Blobby, like.
I feel like Mr. Blobby is one of those things from the 90s which I've never really thought about until now. Like, who conceived that thing? Where did it come from? Like, someone obviously sat down somewhere. And
I don't know if it was Noel Edmonds per se, but he was certainly responsible for
he was on the
his career, like.
It looks like a kid's drawing come to life, so I reckon that's probably where it's come from.
Didn't Noel Edmonds' Funhouse didn't that finish because somebody died on one of the challenges? Pretty sure.
I don't know if that's an urban myth or not. I can't
possibly.
I can't confirm that. I have heard of that theory, but I don't know.
I'll have a quick look now when we're doing this.
Speaking of people dying, though, there's back to that TikTok.
Segue.
Back to that TikTok. So that Cash guy, he's proper gone into this. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why I'm doing a cast on it. But here we are. But he proceeded to say then that the show was about 4 kids who passed away on the same day. Their faces had deformities due to the beatings and lack of food. And they were even kept in isolation, which caused the kids to kind of lose track of reality. They used to dance and sing by themselves, even though there weren't any music. The son that we see in the show, you know, the little baby that kind of told them what to do, essentially. That was
controls everything. They are literally like sort of... worshipping it almost, like.
Exactly, and that's meant to represent the caretakers in the insane asylum. So the kids have to obey what they say, like you said.
There's also the sort of there's also the transmitters and the sort of PA system type effort, or tannoys, as we often call them.
Do you know what? I didn't even pick up on that.
They sort of give little directions to the Teletubbies and stuff as well. So not only have you got the sun, but you've also got the sort of the transmitter things going on.
They were weird, weren't they, those transmitters?
Yeah.
Time for Tubby.
For example, it'll tell them time for bed, time for food, time for this, time for that. So they haven't really got a lot of freedom there when you think about it. It's almost sort of like a free roaming prison then, if you will, really.
They've got that like one toy each as well that they gravitate to.
Yeah.
Like Tinky Winky, the handbag. I don't know if that's a toy.
Handbag, yeah. Poe's hat. Not Poe, sorry.
Dipsy. Green one.
Dipsy's hat. Like it's like a cow skin hat. Yeah.
Lala had a ball and Poe had a scooter.
Poe's a scooter, I believe. Yeah.
Used to fly around down, I think.
Yeah.
The colours and meanings, though, as you were mentioning there. So Tinky Winky is apparently their real name is Tawatay. 7 years old, had a facial deformity that made his mouth a constant smile, and he was deaf. He had said to have a troublesome childhood, and the caretakers would lock him outside. Subsequently, he contracted frostbite, which caused his limbs to go permanently blue or purple, as
in this case,
we see him as.
Yeah.
You got Lala. Lala had a facial deformity, and her face was stretched, which caused a permanent smile again. She was locked in a cold, dark room for 5 years, which impacted her, and she used to dance around the room with no music. Her caretakers, they apparently tortured her and broke her legs, preventing her from dancing. Despite the pain, though, she always smiled, and due to the lack of sunlight exposure, her skin turned a sickly, kind of yellowy colour, which I think is a vitamin D deficiency. It must be them. Obviously, this is all... Yeah.
Why would they base the Teletubbies on this, though? Why would they do that? I don't know.
Someone at the BBC just has a sick sense of humour, like.
Yeah. Is it run all the way up a flagpole, this is as well?
Go straight to the top. Sable signed off on it.
Yeah, that's exactly. Dipsy then, whose real name is apparently Donker, was a 6-year-old kid who was a mute because he was not taught how to speak. He was sick most of the time, and he would starve because he would throw up the food given to him. The caretakers would leave him face down in his own vomit, and it was hard for him to move because he was ill and weak, which resulted in him being green. And then lastly, but not leastly, we've got Poe, or Paulina, who was the youngest of the 4. She was locked in the institute from the moment she was born. In a mental institute since birth, obvious. She was abandoned by her parents due to her deformed face, which caused a creepy smile on her face. She fell asleep. Sorry. She fell asleep one night near the logs of a fire. Some drunk caretakers threw her into the fire. Paulina woke up from her sleep as she felt a burning sensation. She screamed for help. The caretakers pulled her out, but the damage had already been done to her body. Obviously, the red then represents the fire.
It's like fucking Silent Hill.
Yeah, and then you got triangle head then. But you were just on about the caretaker essentially tell him to go to sleep, and something that weren't covered in this were the sleeping covers that they wore, which I don't know if you can remember what they were.
No, not off the top of my head.
No,
Like
they
It's
were
a
like
blanket, wasn't it?
It was like a foil kind of blanket thing.
It's a foil blanket, essentially, yeah.
Foils long to like retain heat and all that to possibly
It's
combat
also,
the cold
it's also
within the walls.
what you'd have if you've just been through some kind of trauma or shock or cold temperature to the body, etc., as well. It's just what they sort of...
So they have them on expeditions to, like, the Arctic and shit like that.
Yeah, to retain the heat. Yeah, that wasn't even on there, so I'm surprised you missed that, considering he's been pretty thorough
Balls
so far.
deep in the Teletubbies, like.
I know, right? I wonder if he's done like multiple other shows as well. I'll have to have a look at this guy. I haven't got TikTok though, unfortunately, so
You're not missing much, man.
nah.
It'll be on Instagram in 2 weeks after that anyway, so it's fine.
And then followed by YouTube Shorts about a month later. It'd be alright.
What do you reckon the tellies are about then? In like in a dark context, like why would someone put tellies in bellies?
Tellies and bellies.
Sounds like a David
Strange
Trade
one.
thing.
Doesn't it? There is a bit on this that I've got as well, but this, dare I say, is probably the most ridiculous bit out of the lot so far. So prepare yourselves for this bit there. So for the kids in the institute, the only source of comfort was a television. It was in the hall there, besides one toy that we've already spoke about. It was constantly played throughout the institute. One day, the four of them overheard the director of the orphanage, though, saying that they would have to remove the television due to its high expenses. That electric, especially these days, can be running out in a bloody institute, tell you how much. The four of them panicked because that was the thing that gave them the most comfort, and it was being taken away from them. So when the caretakers left at night, the four kids went to the shelves and pulled out the 4 televisions. That's a bit of an inconsistency right there. But they
it was a mental
panicked.
asylum, not an orphanage. I'm confused now. Was it a bit of both?
I'll write to this guy, son. I'll let him know.
I'm picking holes in your fabricated story, Mr. whatever your name is. Pretty forgotten.
Me too. The 4 of them panicked because the thing that kept the comfort was being taken away. So the 4 kids went to the shelves, pulled out the 4 televisions, but they panicked as there was no place to hide them, as the room was empty. They thought of climbing out the windows, but obviously they were very weak, so Donka got the idea, looked at the kids knowingly, as they thought of hiding the televisions in their stomachs, because they were used to hiding their toys by swallowing. The next day, when caretakers arrived, the kids were crying as usual, but the 4 of them were laid in the middle of the room as they clawed at their stomachs, and the television, covered in blood, was inside their ripped bellies. Their eyes wide open, and they had permanent smiles on their faces. The creator of the show had a TV inserted in Tubby's stomachs, where they watched videos sent by kids.
That is absolute bullshit. That can't be true.
There you have it.
For reasons.
It's like that kid that tried to shove the remote control up his ass when he took the took the account off him. Remember that?
It's on the internet, Rich.
I don't remember that.
It's got to be true. It's on the internet.
Yeah, it's on the internet.
Jesus Christ. So what was that? Was that a story he said it was made up, or was it like something that he's researched and it's like gospel?
He said it's something that he's researched and it's gospel, but
Fucking liar.
all those like Rugrat kind of rabbit holes that you can fall down, they're all gonna say that it's based on real things, and
animators of kids shows do tend to chuck in a bit of adult humor though, every so often for their own amusement. I mean, isn't it in The Little Mermaid, the cover of The Little Mermaid, there's like loads of penises on the castle underwater and stuff?
So they say.
Is it Little Mermaid or is it Aladdin?
Little worm.
Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
There's a lot of things like this in a lot of Disney stuff. Also, people say, "Oh, they're just finding it." And
there's also, I think, on all the classics, so like all the cartoon classics of Disney, in every cover, there's Donald, Mickey, and Goofy somewhere in the cover. You've just got to find them. It's like a Where's Wally sort of thing, but they're always there.
Did watch an old Mickey Mouse thing on YouTube where, like, I think they're making Swiss cheese. And it's going down a production line, and Mickey's there with a raging boner, and he's just like thrusting his dick into the cheese to make the hole.
I've seen that. Yeah,
yeah.
I can't. I don't know if that's legitimate, but I've definitely seen that happening.
Yeah, reminds me of that like Soviet itchy scratchy.
Yeah. Working on Parasite.
There was actually a banned episode of Teletubbies that they had to redo. Did you look that up, guy?
The Lion and the Bear.
That's the Badger. Have you got anything on that? Do you want
to? Other than being fully aware of the episode, the lion was a wooden created thing that is pulled along on a set of wheels, and I believe the bears as well. They had sort of googly eyes on them as well.
Yeah, it was actually taken down.
Kids were severely affected and traumatized by how sort of scary they looked. And parents complained, and evidently the episode was banned, I believe, to this day.
Yeah, that one is, due to its nightmarish music and visuals. It was banned in several countries as well.
The voices as well, wasn't it, from them?
Yeah, the voices from them. Several countries, though, so that kind of explains what Rich was on earlier. But it was edited to become more child-friendly, but the original, as you said, is still banned to this day.
Wasn't it like a whispered voice from him, like an evil whispered voice?
Die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Very creepy.
Okay. I'll chuck a video up of this just so people can see I have found.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the lion was like one of them pull along on wheels jobbies, like. I believe that well, and the bear.
How they were so terrified of it.
I think it was more to do with the music that accompanied it and just the general possible eeriness of it.
Okay.
It was the presentation of it, more or less.
Yeah, and it was
fair.
Unexpected, I suppose. Like, the show's so formulaic that every episode's pretty much exactly the same, and then along comes this bear on like wheels. Scary, man.
They say children are still traumatized to this day by it.
Yeah, they won't
go
up and pet bears.
Well, no, they'd be probably about 30s, I imagine now.
Yeah,
but
yeah, time flies, eh?
Aye.
When you were looking though, did you see much about the actual cast, or like the more real side of it, Gar? When you were, I know you.
For me, what really alarmed me was the height of them. I think Tinky Winky's like he was 7'11" possibly, and Poe was 6'6".
Christ, and Poe was the small ones.
Poe was the smallest at 6'6". I'm pretty sure. I did write it down somewhere. Just
they are massive, aren't they? I've seen
so I could remember. Yeah, Tinky Winky is 7'11". He's the tallest one, and Poe is 6'6". So that was really shocking to me. I didn't realize quite how tall they were. And when you see photos of the cast filming and behind the scenes and everything, and you see like the crew and the set standing around them, they are enormous. Like it just is nuts. Like it's insane. I never realized that till very recently.
That's it. You've not really got anything to. Can I measure them up against? So what's the fucking point?
That just means Nunu is absolutely massive as well, absolutely fucking tank.
And the rabbits that they used as well were really big rabbits apparently. Like,
were they bred to special size? Like some sort of genetic experiment at the BBC to prove.
I don't know if they were bred for the show, but they certainly had like giant bunny rabbits. Because you can't get giant
with steroids.
Like, the biggest fucking rabbits you can get our hands on.
I wouldn't want to speculate, but yeah.
Painted dogs.
Giant bunny rabbits, giant Teletubbies. Of course, because they never had like a supporting cast with them, you could never really size them up or anything. Although they do now. You haven't mentioned that yet, but they have got what are the children of the Teletubbies called? There is a children of the Teletubbies that are now, since the Teletubbies rebooted in the sort of later half of the 2000s or whatever it was, something like 2014 I think it was. It might have even been that.
There,
yeah. What they call the Tiddlytubbies, is it?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie to you. I totally skipped on that. Well,
that's extremely relevant because they've now got children. Later Teletubbies have now got children. how they reproduced or created these children.
I was just going to say,
is
almost a
actually,
gang
again,
Lala.
children. Was it
yeah,
like
it's
children
totally
that
up to
live with
speculation
them?
there, but they are Teletubby children now.
Good
I
lord.
thought it was Poe and Tinky Winky were the female ones, right?
No, Lala and
Lala
is
would have
Poe?
been.
Would you say Poe's?
Yeah, well,
I
Tinky
thought it
Winky
was
had a handbag,
intentionally-
and I know what people are gonna say, you know.
I got
a man.
a bit
He
on
was
that
a
coming
man.
up now.
But back in the 90s, you know, more so in mainstream media, if you had a handbag, like in this instance, you would be called a woman, basically.
So
Well,
thanks for that, Rich. That's actually a pretty good segue.
The colours of the children now, though.
Does it give an indication of who fucked who based on the colour they come out?
Yeah, the colour. You work basically. I'm no artist, but obviously when you mix paint together, it'll make a certain colour. Now you work out whose child is who rather from the colour of them. You can work it out.
Has anyone
so they
got a
say-
picture? I want to see this.
Tiddlytubbies. I'm surprised you skipped through this one, son. To be honest with you.
Tiddlytubbies.
The Tiddlytubbies. Are they called Tiddlytubbies? I think they are. Yeah. So the original
They're
span of
CGI,
Teletubbies.
Are they?
What's that?
Are they CG? Are they CGI or are they in the
I
same?
can't confirm or deny that. But the original span of Teletubbies was 1997 till 2001, I believe it was. And then in later years, you've had the Teletubbies come back. And to spruce things up a bit, they've reintroduced the children version of the Teletubbies.
Were they cancelled in the wake of 9/11?
I couldn't possibly
For the
say.
similarities.
The world was a
Yeah.
different place.
I think it just probably ran its course, to be honest with you.
So you've got the core. So you've got green, purple, yellow, and red, and
Yeah.
then you've
Purple
got.
and green aren't primary colours though, so it doesn't. I don't. Does this work?
I don't know, but then you've got orange, pink, and light blue.
Orange, pink, and light blue.
It's an interesting situation.
I'm just trying to work out.
I see.
There's actually is an article from a shit rag, which I'm not going to name which one, that said the Teletubbies have had babies and freaked out fans can't work out who hooked up with who.
Exactly that, yeah, exactly. I couldn't remember them headlines coming about, actually. I couldn't remember them launching these. Are they called Tiddlytubbies? Can we just clarify?
I googled
They are
Tiddlytubbies.
called Tiddlytubbies.
Right,
yeah.
there we go, yeah. I couldn't remember them launching, and I can remember them headlines
That
coming
insinuates
about,
they're drunk.
actually. It is very confusing to people.
Tiddlytubbies have had a few brews.
Thing is, the Teletubbies themselves are meant to be like 4 years old. People like attributing all this stuff.
When did they hook up though? So if they were 4 years old when they came out, it doesn't make it any better, does it? I'm guessing.
If they were 4 in 1997, that makes them. How old are the kids in the reboot? It doesn't add
They're
up,
like
no.
about 3 or something, probably, the kids, aren't they?
It doesn't add
Like
up.
toddlers, yeah. Like.
But we are pushing human age and customs and acceptability. What's the word? Social norms
Social
onto
norms,
an alien
yeah.
species, which we know nothing about really. You know what I mean? Dogs are like adult and ready to breed after like a year or two, aren't they? More or less.
Yeah.
So it
Exactly.
could be like that.
They're 18, could be 8 for all we know.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
4, they're in their prime. Like Tinky Winky's
Yeah.
a fucking tank, man.
Oh
You know what I
my
mean?
god.
He's gonna grind you into the ground.
Oh god.
Okay. Right. So kind of moving more into more reality-based drama. Then we got Tinky Winky, who was originally the actor was originally Dave Thompson. He's a big purple-coloured tubby. He's brought the most controversy to the show over the years. Hardline US evangelist Jerry Falwell was very outspoken against the character's design. Can you imagine what the evangelist said? He said that Tinky Winky's purple, the gay pride colour. The antenna is shaped like a triangle, the gay pride symbol. Then there's the handbag as well, as Rich mentioned, indicating possible queer inclinations, as the website very PG said. It was later reported to the show's production company that the actor had misinterpreted the role by implying that Tinky Winky was in fact gay. In response then, he departed from the show, Dave did. He said he's proud of his work. He was always... I was always the one to test out the limitations of the costume, with whatever you can do with that. I was the first one to fall off my chair and roll over. I took all the risks. Said so. Fair play to him for pushing Tinky Winky to the edge.
You got to think though, in that costume, if it's what was it, 7'11", you said, Gav?
I was going to move on to this as well. Yeah,
character actor.
There was only a certain amount of time they could keep their heads on for due to the buildup of carbon dioxide within, and that would be dangerously unsafe. That's a scientific fact. That is as well.
But if that guy, say that guy's a standard, like 6'2" or something like that, right?
Right.
And he's in a 7'11" costume and he's falling and rolling round. I'd imagine that hurts.
It is quite a fall.
That hurts, like. They would have step ups, I would think, as well.
Yeah.
You know.
There were safety issues taken into place with the suits, though. As I say, I can remember seeing about that.
Did you know the pink triangle from the Pride stuff is originally used by Nazi Germany?
Oh God!
I think I've heard that somewhere before.
No, I
learned this from Deaf in June.
Go on, go for it.
It was the.
You sure you want to go into this?
No. It was because he's deaf in June. He's a gay man who's often accused of being a Nazi, which I won't go into. I have a nice video on it, by the way. But it was used by Nazi Germany to mark homosexual undesirables. Pink triangle.
Yeah.
It is
way.
obviously
So
it's been
they
reclaimed.
owned it then, basically.
They reclaimed the symbol. Yeah, it's not as common as the rainbow or anything like that, is it? Or the other different symbols you get, but that one is a historical one. Is the pink triangle? I didn't mean to say that in a German accent. Oh dear.
Well, learn something new, innit? Learn something new every day. So
he's
Dave,
not pink though; he's purple.
Dave, though, the purple Teletubby, later went on to perform stand-up comedy, whilst being replaced with a ballet dancer and choreographer, Simon Shelton. Shelton seemed happy within the role, comparing himself to the Beatles or Take That of children's television. Obviously, the parallels are very much there. Tinky Winky is bigger than Jesus. He explained that after Dave's departure, he would still get asked about Tinky Winky's orientation, but replied with the character is supposed to be a 3-year-old, so the question's a bit silly. He followed on by saying that the role was a risky move, but it certainly paid off. Though everyone once again seemed, happy in La La Land on the TV screen, the cast themselves were still fighting their own fights. Simon had a history of alcoholism and was found dead from hypothermia in a well near the port of Liverpool building in Liverpool at the age of 52. He had a high concentration of alcohol in his system at the time, so unfortunate end to Tinky Winky there, I'm afraid.
So that's let me just stop you a second. That's 2 Tinky Winkies they've had already, but they at that point
written off.
But, right, okay, yeah.
One way or another.
Yeah.
You got Dipsy then, the green one. He was played by John Simmet. Now, there were conflicting things on this where I didn't really believe one side of it, because they said that he was arrested and he was a career criminal and things, but I really don't think that's true.
Okay.
I think that's a little bit, I think it's a bit of profiling, to be honest, because Dipsy, he's the darker skinned one out of them, and he was played by a black man. So John Simmet, another stand-up comedian turned Tubby, Simmet actually took inspiration from classic reggae sources and rhythms. He slipped in Jamaican dance moves, bringing his culture to the show. So I think the other website that I looked at was just a bit dodgy, to be honest, and being a bit racist, which isn't cool. But no, this guy, no haunting past, nothing. He's just seems chill. Still a stand-up comedian to today as well.
I never thought.
Richard be going to see him in the Glee Club now. You are.
Aye.
Does he sign photos of the Teletubbies? Really do that or anything?
Yeah, he said he doesn't really acknowledge that he was in there much, unless he's asked about it. He does sometimes post Q&As on Twitter, I think it was, about being, his time as a Tubby, but yeah, he kind of leaves the past where it is.
Okay.
Lala, so you got Nikki Smedley. Nothing much to say about Lala, I'm afraid, though. She kept a career in kids' TV, kicking by becoming a choreographer in the Into the Night Garden, was it?
Oh yeah, and the Night Garden.
Yeah, that's the one. I think I called it Midnight Garden at the start, but that's the one I meant. Another incredibly trippy children's show. I don't think they speak in that either.
The first time I ever saw that was in Amsterdam in the hotel.
That's a good place to see it.
In the afternoon, I was watching it in the afternoon. Just what the fuck am I watching? Didn't realise it was actually a proper TV show that was on normal television for kids back home.
I say, if anything, it's a bit more trippy than than the Tubbies. I'd say they pushed it a bit more.
My boy watches it on CBeebies, and it's like a really weird looking clown on it, and it's proper weird. Yeah, and you got like, am I thinking of the right thing? But it is trippy.
I am pretty sure there was a clown. I remember watching it, but Mickey's, there was kids watching it. Is there, like, because you're the only one of us with a kid, is there like a limitation to the nonsense you can show your kid, or?
Not really. Not when it's like, it is. I just googled it. It is on now. The clown is on. Like on. The only thing I don't like him watching is like he's like kids on YouTube. Like if you look up the list of the most popular fucking YouTube channels, there's like kids called like Dan and Roma. There's Vlad and Nikki. There's a whole bunch of them, and they're so fucking rich, and they've got so much shit, and they live in these fucking mansions, and they have all these toys. They're absolutely spoiled rotten, and like. Yeah, it's not so much the kids act like in a bad way, but like
it's the life they portray, basically.
Yeah, the life they portray. The episodes are always sponsored by like toy companies that give them like the entire Hot Wheels range, and they build it through the entire house and stupid shit like that. And it's just like it's unattainable, and like I don't know, it doesn't really. It's just the way it's filmed is very.
Ugh. I guess that's true for YouTube in general, not just the kids section though.
Absolutely.
Like, a lot of YouTube channels kind of portray. Like, look at the travel vlog ones are a prime example of that. People go into all these different countries, filming and all this stuff. It looks great what they've edited down, if all that shit, but realistically, they could have been there for a day and a half and literally filmed all that stuff. Didn't get to see any of the country, and just went back. And they were probably like given money to go there by some company or by the camera, manufacturer that they're filming the camera for, because the video is about the camera. And yeah, it just goes on and on. And then people think that, oh yeah, I could do that, I could be an influencer, I could be a YouTuber, and it's like there's a lot more work than you actually think, and it's not as glamorous.
I was watching a TV show before where they inspired to be like you said, with I think it was in a van travel logger, and
they ended
up just chucking them behind a green screen. I think can't remember what show it was. It's a very big show. Reverting back though to what Barrow was saying about the CO2 emissions in the costume. So Poe was seen blasting around La La Land on the scooter there. That's going to tire anyone out, but especially considering the cast had to wear those heavy costumes for 11-hour work days. Now, I imagine they would have pushed it more if possible, but 11 hours in those fucking suits.
Wouldn't they have had vents or something?
You'd think, but I can't.
Not to my knowledge, not to my knowledge. Hence the time limitations on the said suits.
Is
Even
the
Barney
most
had vents.
Huh?
Even Barney had vents in his costume, didn't he?
Yeah.
I can't think if the mouths are hollow or the eyes are weird though on Teletubbies. They got like the clappers. Poe though has possibly the most interesting backstory of the lot of them. So after the show ended, the actor's name Poi Fan Lee, so sorry if I mispronounced that, she went to star on a Channel 4 show called Metrosexuality, in which she took place in multiple lesbian sex scenes. She stated that, yes, I was Poe, but I'm an actress, and the role looked interesting. I didn't take the lesbian role to be deliberately controversial.
I remember this story.
I call bullshit on that as well, to be fair.
I remember that story coming out.
I reckon that if you are a role model for kids in a way like that, any kind of role you go into, which is, any gore, blood, sex, or anything like that, what you're doing. You're doing that deliberately, and she was trying to have her extra 15 minutes, I reckon.
Yeah, it would have been all right if she didn't mention that she was Poe.
Yeah,
Poe.
and that too.
Yeah.
But it's just like, if she didn't mention that she was Poe at all, but it was on her IMDb or whatever, but she doesn't actually pay attention to it, it's fine. It's, I think, anyway.
It's like all these Disney child actors that become sex symbols.
Like Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, shit like that. When you get to like a certain age, it's like, well, bam, no, I'm a young independent. But it's not about that, is it? It's about
all your pedophiles can finally go at me like.
Well, it's not quite what I'm saying. Well, I mean, it's just like another. It's as soon as you reach a legal age, it's like, bang, there we go. This is how you're going to get marketed now. This will sell more records.
Kind of like I remember Twitter. I remember looking at Twitter and remember Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And she just turned 18. My God, the cesspool that is Twitter was insane on that. You just think like, Jesus Christ, you literally just turned 18 and you're already
Mate, you think that's bad? When I was a long time ago, I worked for Merthyr Council. I made a break room in where I worked, and there was a Nuts magazine in the break room. And I picked up the Nuts magazine because I had nothing better to do with the 40 minutes or so I had left on my break. And there was a little thing in there at the start, and I can't remember if it was 16 or 18, but there's a little bit on Emma Watson. I'm pretty sure it was 16. And it said, Emma Watson has turned 16 now, so it's officially legal to fancy her. And there was a couple of pictures of her and stuff. I was like, that's fucked. That's so fucked. Even back then, it was like, what was that, 2005, 2006? Just like, yeah, it's dark, man. It's like, that's a mainstream publication. Obviously, things are different now. You wouldn't be able to print that anymore. Get that magazine into a lot of hot water. TVH.
Yeah. I don't know, when you're younger, all you want to be is like famous and rich, and I suppose rich would be bad. No offense, Rich, but
it's all right. Like,
like
can't complain really.
The older I get, the more, well, the less I want to be like that. I suppose. Like, I think it'd do my fucking head in. To be fair,
you like your privacy.
Yeah, I really like my privacy. Like, I couldn't, like, if I'd grown up as a child star, I completely understand how they do go off the rails and stuff. All that money and influence at that age, no, I couldn't handle that. I was nuts as it was. No time.
We're not going to Aaron Carter thing. He spent his entire life.
Oh my god.
More or less being his drugs and stuff. So he just, I guess, like, when you, especially in that case, it's a different one because you're a child star that became irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like the kid who played Anakin in episode 1. Stuff like that. It's just, they can't deal with the fact they were really popular, and no, they're not.
Is Aaron Carter still alive?
No, he died recently.
Very recently.
His
like last month
alive.
or something, or the month before even.
I was watching a few of his videos. I don't ask how or why, but his mother was like egging him on and all that as well. She was as batshit as he was.
Well, his brother is very successful, isn't he? Still,
Backstreet Boys.
Oh, his mother,
Boys,
sorry, his mother.
Carter.
But both of them were big then, were they?
Nick was the bigger one. Aaron did have success early on, but he kind of roared off the being a Backstreet Boys brother, basically. Was how he got famous.
Oh,
I never knew that at the time, though, when I was at it, but not that I paid much attention to that shite. It was just like...
I was in a house with 2 older sisters that were massive Backstreet Boys fans, so I was fully aware.
Class. Lastly but not least, though, I'm sure you can remember the Sun Baby, as they call it. Yeah. Played by Jess Smith. She had a weird turn of events, I suppose. So the producer of the show walked into the hospital, asked for any smiling babies, and she literally got cast whilst she was being weighed in the hospital. How weird's that, like?
She's smiling that young. That's fucking crazy. How does she know what a smile is?
Did they use the same baby all the way till the end? It was literally just the same clips, basically reused.
It was only a handful of clips.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. But, Christ, in the hospital, like, there's no paper round for her. Like, I was doing a paper under 13. I was gonna, Christ alive, she got to work.
How much were the parents paid for that?
Yeah, give you £50.
Yeah, no.
Curious.
I don't know. I don't know. No idea. Wonder if she actually saw any of the return.
She get royalties on the reruns, the syndications of the Teletubbies.
The dad's in there reading like, I see how much you pay Gary Lineker. You can afford to pay me something for my kid's image on the Teletubbies.
It should have been when they had that pay gap, that scandal when all the pay came out for the BBC and how different it was between the male and female presenters, which was insane, by the way. But it should have had the baby from Teletubbies on there. How much did that baby get paid?
That would have been good.
So that is actually the meat and veg of the cast. Did anything else crop up when you were doing your goosing?
Not that I know of, no. No.
No.
I think that more or less covers it. The health and safety of them. The theories around them.
Yeah, there were a lot of theories. I had to kind of... I just picked one at random and just stuck with it, to be honest, the theories.
I've got something that hasn't been covered, and I only found it because Google and Amazon spy on everything that you do, and we've been talking about the Teletubbies a lot, and this popped up in my Instagram feed as like a conspiracy kind of profile to follow. What has happened then? Does anyone know to the place that's behind Gareth right now?
Oh, I know. Yeah, it was filled in. It was filled in as a lake. At least in the original run. This is the problem. I can't tell you anything about the later run of Teletubbies, as in when the children are involved and stuff. The Tiddlytubbies, however they go. But at least the original run, the original site location, which we are looking at behind me, that is on some sort of estate or manor. I believe it was filled in and is now a lake. Because people were so intense with trespassing and getting onto the land and taking photos, whatever. Apparently the woman there was like, no, enough's enough. So it was all just filled in, and it's now a big lake. Tom probably knows the location of it, but it is now just a big
They could have made
lake.
it a tourist attraction, though.
Yeah.
Easily.
Even when they dismantled the house, people were still coming and like to see the hills and stuff because it was like a really beautiful spot, and people kept hurting themselves and jumping around on the hills, being idiots.
Can you imagine waking up one day, pulling your shoes on, and getting all ready, getting the family in the car, and then going to fucking La La Land like for a day trip?
It is someone's property though. That isn't like a public open space to my knowledge, is it? It was someone's property, and they had the guts full of it.
It's like the Breaking Bad house.
With the pizza,
house.
yeah.
Yeah, people always throwing pizza at the house or just come into it to take pictures. The people who live there do not why they give their fucking house to the production company. Or maybe it's people who've bought the house since, I don't know, but they are very unwelcoming to people who even just come to take pictures, which is fair enough. I want people fucking coming into my garden just taking pictures of my house all the time. There's a huge fence around it now and security cameras and stuff all over it. It must be very unpleasant.
Nothing like Father Ted.
No.
No. Father Ted's house is or you could go a step further. The people who live in Laura Palmer's house in Twin Peaks are actually the people that are in Laura Palmer's house in the final scene of Twin Peaks, which is very, very confusing. They're the actual owners of the house, and they use their real names as well. It's just
that's cool.
Yeah, that's very meta, isn't it? But you could go.
Oh, hold on, that just adds a new dimension to the end.
It does, yeah.
Oh, fuck me. What have we set up? Oh no, fuck you now. You're gonna send me into a fucking existential crisis.
It really does, yeah.
What year is this?
There's also the first scene they filmed for the entire season 3 was that end scene.
Oh, so they went backwards and essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Watch Twin Peaks, guys. Fucking hell.
I can't. But
good and can't.
I can't.
You can. You can do it.
Oh, boys, I can't. What's in the bag, son?
Too big an investment for me at the moment to.
I'm trying to get Gareth to watch The Sopranos. I can see he's interested and he's at the tipping point. I'm trying to get him to.
It's too big an investment to get.
I'm playing him with big characters.
How do people have time to watch TV? Honestly, I don't know how. I don't know how.
What?
Yeah.
We've got time to do this fucking stupid podcast. You've got time to watch a television show.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I appreciate you all stopping by. Anyone got any last words?
Time for Tubby bye-byes.
Yeah.
Time for Tubby bye-byes. And with that, we're Steakcast, and we're off. Have a good one.
Bye.